Hi, welcome to SBR Videos. I'm Peter Loshak. Today is Saturday, April 16th. This is the regular NHL playoffs preview show that we've been doing with SBR contributing handicapper Dana Lane. We've been doing it very successfully, and we're going to tackle the four games on today's card. Dana Lane, thanks for being with us. Let's start with the early game, the Pittsburgh and the Rangers. Pitt rolled in game one. Lundqvist got dinged up. The Rangers have injuries on defense. Malkin may be back for Pitt. All signs are point. I mean, if you want to bet the Rangers here, you're basically doing an on-faith bet that something unexpected will change, because all signs on paper are pointing at Pittsburgh as a big favorite, right?
Yeah, absolutely. We're gonna stay away from the side in this one, and obviously with all the injuries and the anticipation of Malkin coming back, which is not going to happen because he did not participate in morning rushes, so don't anticipate his return. But there is an early typical response because of those factors, with Lundqvist getting a stick in his eye by Stahl. And Zakhoff is probably going to start for Pittsburgh tonight. From everything I hear, Fleury is just not ready to go on this. So the bettors are rushing to take the over in this. So that's good for me because I love the under in the first period, and I love the under for the game. I do expect Lundqvist to start tonight. Other notes of interest, Dan Girardi is not going to play, and people say, okay, well, you have a top flight defenseman out. Well, he is, and he certainly is a veteran presence. But if you've been following him recently, he has not played well, including in game one where he was a -2. And what they're going to do is they're going to replace him with Dylan McIlrath, which doesn't have the season-long statistics that Girardi has, but a big body, 6'5", 230, and I think that's going to be huge in this series that I think is going to get more physical. So we like the under in the first period. We like the under for the game.
Interesting analysis. Dana Lane, right now the under at Pinnacle is -130. Market wide, though, we had it -135. And then let's move on to Washington. Washington got a tight 2-0 win in game one. Braden Holtby is absolutely awesome in goal. The line for game two, though, is about -235 all the way up to -245 market wide. And again, Philly just a tough, scrappy team. Feels like they're going to fight here. Would I actually want to take a shot with them at the huge underdog line? I'm not exactly sure, but I'm thinking we might see another physical, tight game. Philly will battle back, and maybe another shot with the under. The first game went way under. Maybe a shot with the under 5 at -105 or -110. What do you think?
Yeah, Pete, I mean, you're going to get Philadelphia's best effort in this series. If they don't come out with their best effort, obviously this series is over. And the news of Sean Corte being out is a huge blow for Philadelphia. So normally the bettors would take that and run with it, but that line is so high that there's not a ton of movement. Braden Shen could see more time at center, which is okay for me. I think, statistically, I think he is so flexible and able to play a varied amount of positions that I don't think you're going to see too much of a drop-off in what the Flyers normally do. I expect them to get more opportunities today. I expect Dave Haxtell to make adjustments from game one to game two. This is, there's no different. That old adage that you make the biggest adjustments from 1 to 2 applies in hockey as well. And I fully expect that to happen. Washington allows both Washington and Philadelphia typically allow over 30 shots a game. In fact, it's closer to 31 shots a game. So I think there's going to be more opportunities for both teams today as they kind of make adjustments to what they did in the first game. So what we're going to do is we're going to play this game over at the generous price at -$1.05, and we're going to take Philly +1.5 because we're not all that confident in them, but +1.5. You're getting them at $1.35, which is a fair price for a team that you figured to get their best effort today.
Okay, interesting take. Dana Lane liking the over 5, expecting some offensive adjustments from Philly, and then talk about offensive adjustments that might be necessary and might not be possible to make. Minnesota at Dallas, right? They got shut out 4-0 in game one of this series, and that wasn't a fluke. They had a lot of trouble scoring down the stretch and obvious of the regular season. Obviously, they have a lot of top guys out, a lot of scoring out with injuries, and will they be able to make some adjustments to make a dent in Dallas at all. Not exactly sure. Maybe they will be, but as of right now, Dallas is a minus 178, 180, 185. That's the range where Dallas is. Does that have value? Dallas as a big favorite.
Pete, I don't think so. I mean, I'm going to lay off of this on the side. That's way too high for me to lay with Dallas, and certainly with the way that the Wild have been playing, I don't want anything to do with them as well. They look completely lifeless in the first game, and that figures because with the loss of Zach Parise, your leading scorer is completely out, and your team leader is out, and then you're going to try to replace him with a Jason Zucker that just has not been able to uh, get back to form all season. So we saw John Torchetti shuffle some lineups in practice yesterday, and then again today, and it looks like they're going to put Zucker back down on that second line. So. Hey, look, this is a Wild team that's had 6 goals in their last six games. Again, we talked about this before the series started. That is this a Wild team that feels a bit satisfied considering where they were before Torchetti took over versus where they are now, and here they are in the playoffs. This team looks satisfied. They look lifeless as well, and without Parisi, I just don't see them being effective offensively. So what we're going to do, Pete, is we're going to try to get both ends of the under, both 1.5 under in the first period, and under that 5, which you are getting plus money at for the game.
All right, sounds good. And then the last game that goes tonight is Game 2 in San Jose, LA. And before this series started, you know, I mentioned 2 things. Well, obviously, San Jose great on the road this year, and they did come in on the road and get a road win in Game 1. And I also mentioned that the first round playoff series that they played 2 years ago was surprisingly high scoring. The first 4 games of that series went way over, and we did see that in Game 1 of this series. Once again, the final score was 4-3, and here we are, Game 2. We have the same total of 5, minus 116 at Pinnacle and Bet Online. The worst line you can get is minus 125. You think that San Jose once again has value as a road team here, still an underdog again, plus 125, plus 130, and maybe another shot with the over 5. What do you think?
Yeah, I mean, we said in our opening video that I certainly like San Jose to win this series. I think they're just a tick better than LA, and especially with their ability to win on the road. I do expect a more disciplined effort from the Kings tonight. I mean, look, you cannot allow the league's third best power play to have 4 power play opportunities, and they cashed in on one of those, and you're like, okay, well, 1 for 4, which still isn't a great percentage, but keep in mind, even if you don't score in a power play, you're taking away valuable minutes that a team would be more offensively oriented rather than trying to kill off a penalty. Los Angeles is second in the league in shots allowed per game, and they're getting even better. And we saw in Game 1 they've only allowed 23 shots, and the Sharks allowed only 24. So I think both of these teams are pretty defensive minded. San Jose has allowed only 2 goals per game in their last 5 games. So what we're going to look at in this one is we're going to look to play the under at plus money, plus $1.10. I think you're going to be right around that 5-goal mark at the end of this game. And then we're going to look to play Los Angeles in the first period minus $1.30.
All right, so you don't think that when these 2 teams meet in the playoffs, it's just a lot higher scoring than normal? That did happen, again, 2 years ago, happened in Game 1, but you're not expecting that to continue.
Well, Pete, I mean, we were I think LA is going to come out and play a more disciplined game. I didn't think they were extremely disciplined in the first game. I mean, there was a lot of scoring in the middle part of the game, and mostly it was because of a lack of discipline. I thought they didn't mentally regroup even after they would score a goal. I felt like there was a time where they've exhaled and they stopped playing defense, and I think you're going to get back to more LA King defensive style hockey. And in fact, in that first period, I mean, with San Jose, I mean, obviously they've been fantastic on the road, but if you look at the breakdown of their goals, the first period's always the weak link on the road for them. So, yeah, we like LA in the first period in this game, but again, even though if you anticipate a defensive effort, A lot of coaches today are pulling goaltenders with 2 goal deficits. So that 5 is such a difficult number. I'd almost rather get a 4.5 or a 5.5, but those fives are such a difficult number. Even in the game we saw last night against Chicago and St. Louis, where that under 5 looked great for such a long period of time, and then the flurry at the end pushed it to a push. I expect there to be the same type of thing in this game, but both of these teams, I expect a much better defensive effort, especially in the middle part of the game.
Dana Lane, thanks so much for your thoughts, as always.
Thanks, Pete. I appreciate your time.